note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizzly K. This is Grizzly True Crime, and today we are continuing to look at Harmony Montgomery's case. Let me just resize this for you so we can actually look at it. We have done 4 parts of a deep dive already in preparation for the trial that is starting on Tuesday with jury selection. I'm recording this on, what is the date today? February the 4th, right? Yes, so it's February the 4th today. Jury selection starts on February the 6th of 2024. So if you haven't seen part 1, 2, 3, or 4, please go check that out because it's like a little bit of homework. I think it's important before the trial starts just to get yourself up to speed as well, just so that you know what the case is about and why Adam Montgomery will be on trial. Welcome to all my moderators. Thank you so much for everything you do. Welcome to all my patrons. I hope that you enjoyed the very first Patreon-only live stream that we had yesterday. The live stream replay is now posted on Patreon for you, so you can go check it out there. And then welcome to all my members, subscribers, and everyone. Thank you so much for being here. CG says, are you going to stream the trial? I am going to be streaming the trial. I do believe that there will be cameras in the courtroom and that some of the mainstream media will be streaming it. So yes, I would love to watch it with you. I'm going to be covering it like I can't say like I normally do because we only just started doing that. Sometimes we defluff, right? So we delayed by a day or so. And sometimes I like to start just 3 hours later. So I think I'm going to do that format of starting 3 hours later. Maybe opening statements that day as well. We'll wait 3 hours so we don't have to wait through coffee breaks, lunch breaks, and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So I hope that you are ready for this trial. It will start with jury selection on Tuesday, February the 6th of 2024. It is scheduled to last approximately 3.5 weeks, okay? So here, I just wanted to show you this because we were discussing this in the last live stream about this case. And we were talking about, Adam Montgomery's defense team wanting to sever the charges into 2 different trials. So the conclusion for that, the judges said, for the foregoing reasons, the court determines that the charges in the 2 dockets are sufficiently related and comport with the best interests of justice. Accordingly, the state's motion to sever the 2 dockets is denied. Okay. So they have denied that motion. It's going to be 1 trial for approximately 3.5 weeks. If you don't know anything about this case, please have a look at the description box. There's a whole case background write-up there for you. I will actually quickly show you something here. This is Harmony Montgomery. Oh man. Look at her. She would have been, I think she would have been 9 years old now. Wow. And she was last seen in 2019. It took 2 years for the police to know that she was missing, right? Harmony didn't call Adam dad. She called him Adam. So we looked at this. This is actually the presentation from the deep dive that we did on Adam Montgomery's background. So if you want the timeline and everything, we'll have a look here quickly. Hold on. Yeah. So we've got state witnesses for this trial will include, I'm going to go through the timeline in a moment, 79 civilians, 73 members of law enforcement, 6 expert witnesses, and 31 record keepers. So what I'm doing in this live stream today is actually what I did was I went and watched the weapons trial that Adam Montgomery had last year, June, and then I wrote down all the witness names, okay? And then I looked at the witness list for this upcoming trial, compared the 2, and I've actually seen which witnesses from that trial are going to be at this trial or are expected to be at this trial. And so we're going to look at those witnesses, but just little snippets so that we can kind of see, what to expect a little bit, which we can't always see. It's not actually often that one would be on trial for one thing and then on trial for another, and we can actually compare witnesses and all of that. So yes, so the defense was seeking to sever the charges into 2 different trials. That motion was denied. Jury selection, February 6th of 2024. Adam Montgomery is going to be on trial for the murder of his daughter, Harmony Montgomery. So she was born June 7th of 2014, and her mother's Crystal Sorry, and she will also be on the stand. Her father is Adam Montgomery. He's the defendant. Her stepmother was Kayla Montgomery. That's Adam Montgomery's wife, and she will also be on the stand. And yes, her family was troubled, transient, and engaged with the Massachusetts child protection system. I do want to remind you about the new tip line that was established within the last month. If you have any information, because they have never found Harmony's body, which is so sad. Oh my goodness. So this is a no body trial, which makes it extra hard, right? But there is a new tip line, so if you know anything, saw anything, you found something, please do call that into this tip line on the screen right now, all right? I'm just giving you a really quick recap. Okay, this is too much of a deep dive to quickly recap. If you want to pause to read this, you can. I would just highly recommend going to watch part 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you'll know everything you need to know about the case, okay? But yeah, Adam Montgomery is going to be on trial for Harmony Montgomery's murder. So back to the document I was showing you. So it's going to be one trial for all the charges that he's facing. Here they say the state of New Hampshire, so that's where it's happening. Judicial Branch, Hillsborough, Superior Court North. The state versus Adam Montgomery. And so here they say trial counsel. So the state, I like this form. It's very nice document here. Thank you to MB Inc. for sending me this. The state is Ben Agati and Christopher Knowles. The defense is Caroline Smith and Jorans Brooks. They say, is the defendant incarcerated? Yes, at the NHSP. Is the defendant present? No. Refused transport. That was the last time for a hearing. He refused to be there. The length of the trial is approximately 3.5 weeks. Number of witnesses, they say the state, approximately 50 to 55. So in the last live stream, we actually looked at the amended witness list, and they had those 79 civilians listed and, almost 80 law enforcement agents and 6 experts and 31 record keepers. So it's a long potential list, but here they're saying on the final pretrial order, 50 to 55 witnesses, and the defendant, approximately 2 witnesses. Wow, right? Okay, so Tina, I guess you didn't just hear me say that? I just said it, but I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for being here with us. So we're going to watch it with a few hours delay like we did the last trial. Okay. Tony says the jury's going to have to think long and hard about why he won't tell the police where his daughter is. Well, he is a career criminal, and he is absolutely denying that he killed Harmony Montgomery. So MB Inc. is in the house. You say, thanks for the shout out, G. If you guys want to go over there and subscribe, MB Inc. also covers lots of trials and documents and things like that. So you could check him out, and he's very helpful, especially when I'm hunting down press conference links or documents and things. Yeah, we normally put our resources together and try to find it. It's not always easy. In this case, I must say, very impressive court site. It's linked in the description box for you if you guys want to go and download all the documents as well. But yes, so yeah, that's what they say there. 3.5 weeks. So starting with jury selection on February 6th. I don't know how long jury selection takes. Sometimes it's a day or 2, sometimes longer. Hopefully, I'm hoping that by like Thursday, there's opening statements or something like that. So that'll take us probably to the end of Feb, right? Okay, so that is what we could see on there. This was the amended witness list that we looked at. And this is the list that I used to then look at all these names and compare it to all the names that were at the previous weapons trial. And I've now made a video for you with clips, like defluffed, but like majorly defluffed. I'm actually just showing you a preview of what we can expect to see. Because if you're curious like me, I want to know, well, who are we going to see on the stand? Or what's it going to be like? So that's what we are here to do today. All right. I quickly want to show you this, where they say, and then we're going to look at the video. This says, it's an article from Union Leader. They say, with no body, prosecutors face added challenge in Montgomery murder trial. I don't know, yes, because it's going to be a new jury. Yes, no body, never found Harmony Montgomery. Ooh, but this guy, oh my word, he's a bad, bad man. And it's not like he is innocent or proven guilty in this case, but he's a career criminal and already sentenced to many, many years. I think it was something like 60 years in prison. For baby love. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, yes. So just hold on 1 second. I just quickly gotta... I hope my mic loud enough for you guys? Or is Bill Gates messing with it? For a baby love, I really appreciate it. So this says prosecutors face an added challenge in the high-profile trial of of Adam Montgomery, who is accused of killing his 5-year-old daughter. She was only 5. And if you guys haven't yet watched the video where I read the entire probable cause affidavit to you, please go check that out. But just be warned, it really comes with a trigger warning. I made it as, I covered it as sensitively as I could, but it's very, very sad, right? Okay, so they say the Harmony and then go to great lengths to cover it up. Like, he kept her body for around 4 months. It was insane what is alleged that he did. Okay, the little girl's remains have never been found. Montgomery, 34, has been charged with second-degree murder, abuse of a corpse, falsification of evidence, and witness tampering. Wow, okay. Jury selection is set to begin Tuesday morning. So that'll be, depending on when you're watching this, it'll be February the 6th of 2024. And so they say such no-body murder cases are rare. Only a handful have been prosecuted in New Hampshire since the mid-1980s. Oh, sorry, I'm clicking there. No, stop it. Okay. Since the mid-1980s. So, oh man, I think it could be a tough one because it's like isolated now just to these charges. I don't think the jury's allowed to know about his previous charges, right? So they said, and fewer than 600 such cases are believed to have been brought to trial in the US since the 1800s. First, prosecutors must prove that the person is actually deceased, not just missing, said Michael Ramsdell, a retired homicide prosecutor for the New Hampshire Attorney General's office. Ramsdell, who moved out of state after retiring, has no involvement in the Montgomery case. A medical examiner can't just come in and talk about an autopsy, Ramsdell said. It's a little more complicated to make sure that you have covered all of the bases. Second, a prosecutor needs to show beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant was the only one who actually killed them. It's going to be tough. Ramsdell knows the hurdles firsthand. In his first homicide case, he prosecuted Alan Eason on charges of stabbing John Drew to death in May of 1986 and then torching his body in the back of a van in Farmington. Drew's remains were accidentally disposed of and never examined for evidence. Okay, so now they're citing other cases, but the point is, it's going to be a tough one to prove that Harmony Montgomery, I think they're going to be able to prove that she's no longer alive based on the evidence found at the places where they stayed and, like the staining in the ceiling vent and things like that. And Kayla Montgomery's testimony is going to be really important as well, especially for the state. But proving that he murdered her, that's going to be a tough one, don't you think? Although, we'll see. What friends say, if anyone witnessed, Uncle Kevin's going to be on the stand. People who witnessed abuse and things like that. Uncle Kevin said that Adam Montgomery made Harmony stand in the corner for hours, scrub the toilet with her own toothbrush, and all sorts of things that are very, very hard to talk about. My goodness. Okay, so I'm going to now move on to the video. I'm going to link this article if you want to read the whole article. It's actually very informative, but yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a battle there. I have full faith in the state. This is Kayla Montgomery. We're going to see a snippet of her in today's video production as well. So here we go. Let's resize this now for what I made for you. Okay. Also, thank you so much to everyone who has watched yesterday's interview with Joe Jackalone and who has gone over there to his channel to subscribe. He's very excited because 1,000 of us Grizzlies went over there. So thank you so much. That's really, really nice to see that support. Okay. Hippie at Heart says, can you imagine how long it will take to introduce evidence? Right. Becky B says, Uncle Kevin and Kayla will be good witnesses. And Steel Guitar says, I wouldn't think they could use any DNA. Interesting. Jean Davis says 2 months and no one said she was missing. 2 years. 2 years. Right? Wow. Okay, so this is one of Adam Montgomery's former friends that we're going to hear from. Just know that the way that I've edited this, I've just taken the best clips from each witness. But if you want to go and watch the whole weapons trial, it was only 4 days. Okay, 4 days long. So it's totally doable, especially with that, 1.5, 1.75 speed is great. Not that Mickey, thank you so much from South Africa, huh? ZAR, I really, really appreciate it. So you can go watch that weapons trial. It's on all the mainstream channels like Court TV and Law and Crime and some news channels as well. And that's where these clips are coming from. But it's not, I've just blended them all together. It's just jumping, just like jump cuts, right, to things that they say, which I just wanted to show you. Okay, So this guy, every person that I'm showing you today is apparently, they're on the witness list to take the stand in the upcoming trial. So we're probably going to see Mark Reed take the stand in this upcoming trial, okay? So here we go. I hope the sound is good. Let me play it for you. Nope. There we go.
Silly question, but was prison a good experience for you?
No, I hated it. But I mean, I learned my lesson.
Have you made lifestyle changes since release?
Yeah, I'm sober. I'm trying to get my own apartment, my license back, a car, trying to do everything. It's just, it's rough.
And you said you could buy firearms for cheap.
See, that was a little cut. Okay? You saw it. It was just a little glitch, a little cut. And these are all friends that were obviously in Adam Montgomery's circle, which means many of them struggled with substance abuse, right? They were all taking substances, dealing substances, selling things in order to get more of it. So we're going to see some of them on the stand, and many of them have turned their lives around. I hope that this is not triggering for anyone. I hope that you'll be okay as well, and I hope that no one will be nasty to these witnesses either. Crime Curious, so nice to see you. Said, I'm cheating on my own premiere to be here. Whoa. You are cheating on your own premiere to be here, but I wanted to say hi and let you know I received my Grizzly mug by mail. Oh my word. That is so cool. I'm so glad. Okay. Thank you for saying hi.
And then just offload them?
Yeah.
Was that easy money?
Mm-hmm.
So back in that time frame that we talked about, did you know someone named Adam Montgomery?
Yeah.
How did you know him?
Well, I first met him. He hit me up on Facebook saying that we went to high school together, and then we hung out once. And I don't know. After that, I realized I never met him. I never went to high school with him. And after that, we just started talking more. Before I figured out I didn't know him, we talked more and just started making plans to do things to make money and hanging out and shit.
So
I'm just going to pause for a second. I won't interrupt too much because I don't want to make this too long. I mean, this video that I've made for you is about 45 minutes or so. So if I interrupt too much, we're going to be here for hours and hours, okay? We just want to see a preview of the kind of witnesses that we're expecting to see at the trial, right? So did you hear what he just said, though? He said Adam Montgomery hit him up on Facebook and said, hey, we went to high school together. And poor Mark later realized, I don't know this guy. We didn't go to high school together. But by then, they'd already connected and they, were kind of friends. And as he said, they were trying to find ways to make money together so that they could buy more substances, So, but that is very interesting and if you just mark how manipulative Adam Montgomery is, even to someone he doesn't even know, hit some guy up on Facebook and be like, sup, we went to high school together. I'm like, okay, gaslighting, right? Wow. Thank you so much. Life Love says hashtag justice for harmony. Yes, please, you guys, could you please like and share this live stream and use that hashtag justice for harmony? There's other hashtag recommendations in my description box as well, so that other people can learn this information too, and hopefully join us as we watch the trial.
Heard correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, he reached out to you via Facebook saying you went to high school together? Okay. And then you said you hung out?
Yeah.
Okay. How often would you hang out with the defendant?
Not that much. I think in total 3 times, 4 times, something like that. It was not a lot.
Did the two of you have a drug connection?
What do you mean?
Did you do drugs together?
Yeah.
What drugs would you do?
Meth. I would do heroin by myself, but he would do meth with me.
In those limited actual face-to-face interactions you had with him, did you ever have an overnight with him, spend the night in the same place as him?
Yeah, one time.
So, sorry, I don't want you to elaborate on that.
Just, okay.
A yes or no. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you conduct regular business transactions with the defendant?
Yes.
On one occasion, did he offer to sell you his family pet?
Yes.
And had you met that pet before?
Yes.
I hope you heard that. Adam Montgomery offered to sell the family pet to Mark Reed to get more substances. That is how addicted Adam Montgomery was. He was really in it. He was in that rabbit hole, right? To sell the pet. Oh, man. Also, could we please not snark at people's appearances? You know? I don't mind the face tattoos. I don't know. I've never minded tattoos. I get that it's like on his face. But let's not be ugly to them, okay? These are all recovering addicts, and I think they've done a good job so far, from what I've seen, turning their life around. So, okay, I feel empathy. Okay.
So I mentioned Adam Montgomery. Do you see him in the courtroom here today?
Yeah.
Can you point to him and identify an article of clothing he's wearing?
A white shirt.
And can the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant?
The record shall so reflect.
Did you ever visit the defendant's home?
Yes.
And was that here in Manchester?
Yes.
Do you remember the address?
I think it was 70-something Guilford Street or something.
Do you remember who he was living with at the time?
There was the dog, and there was the Kayla, right? I think that's her name, Kayla, something like that. And the kid.
Okay. And when you say you think Kayla, was that an adult or a child?
An adult.
Was that the defendant's partner, or do you know?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And so how many times did you go to his address?
Shame you can, when he says, and who was living there, he's like, the dog. He remembers the dog because Adam tried to sell the dog. You know, Adam doesn't seem to have much emotion.
On Guilford Street?
I think it was once or twice.
You said, did you say you went there once or twice, or just once?
Once or twice.
Okay. The times that you went there, were there any other individuals at the home?
Just Kayla and the baby.
Okay. So you mentioned the defendant reaching out to you on Facebook back then?
Yeah.
Saying you went to school together? Was that the primary?
Sorry. Hopefully I won't interrupt as much, right? CG said, surprised he didn't sell the kids. The thing is, there is plausible speculation that the reason that he even got custody of Harmony, which is a tragedy in itself, is to get the benefits, is to, you know, because she was blind in her right eye, and he could claim benefits for that and for having the children around. So he didn't sell them. So I don't know what you mean when you say surprised, but sure seemed to use them for money, right? Thank you so much, Agatha. I really appreciate it.
Very mechanism that he used to reach out to you?
Yeah.
Did you have a working phone at the time?
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. But it was Facebook Messenger that we're talking about? Can you start by saying your first and last name and spelling it?
So again, every witness that I'm showing you here today is from Adam Montgomery's weapons trial, which was in June of 2023. So he's already been sentenced for that. We're actually going to look at a little snippet of the verdict because I want to show you how Adam Montgomery looks at every juror, you know, when they're like guilty, guilty, guilty. And we're also going to look at the sentencing that took place there, like a preview. It's almost like, let's see how this trial might go. We're getting into the zone now because the jury selection starts on Tuesday, February 6th, right, of 2024. So that was just one of the friends, former friend Mark Reed, and now we're going to see another former friend, Michael Sullivan. So as you can see, I'm just showing you little highlights, snippets, okay, of this trial.
For the record?
Michael Sullivan, MICHAEL SULLIVAN.
And how old are you, Mr. Sullivan?
42.
Where do you currently live?
In East Hampton, Massachusetts.
And who do you live there with?
My wife.
You mentioned that you lived in Manchester on Somerville Street?
Yes.
How long were you there?
I want to say 3 years, 3.5 years.
And when you lived there, who were you living there with?
My wife and kids.
I want to turn your attention to late 2019. Were you living back on Somerville Street in Manchester
Yes.
in late 2019? And where were you in life at that point in time?
Well, just prior to that, I I was living on another part in Manchester, and I was doing construction, and I started taking pills, Percocet, and then after that I just became an addict. I started doing like heroin, and then I would do cocaine, and I just became an addict. Like looking back on it now, it's like it's like a lifestyle. It's like you get so wrapped up in it that like you don't understand that it revolves everything you do in your life at the time.
True statement as well, and Adam was also in it, but sure, it brought out the absolute worst in him from what we've heard about Adam Montgomery, right? If you haven't seen the deep dive on his very dark criminal past, I mean, I was speculating he could even be a serial killer, really, like based on what we heard and saw, and there's some unsolved murders that he's the prime suspect in and things like that. It's very scary. That's also on the playlist that I've made for this case. It was actually part 4. Also, Grizzlies, don't be offended. If there's newbies here, they'll get the vibe eventually. We are nice to each other, okay? We are a kind and sensitive bunch, so just chill out. Thank you all for being here. I really, really appreciate it. So now at least when we do this, sorry to pause it like that on his face there, just like, now that we are looking at a preview of witnesses we can expect at the upcoming trial, isn't it nice that when we see it, we'll be like, oh yeah, that's Michael Sullivan. Okay, we'll be able to recognize them. We'll be like, oh, Mark Reed. Okay, we saw him just the other day. Just a little snippet of him. Okay.
Do you remember around when that addiction started?
Right before I had moved to Somerville. So, I think I was 37, 38.
What year would that have been around?
15, maybe 2015.
Do you remember when you hit rock bottom?
It was early 2020.
And I think you said earlier it took you getting into trouble to get sober.
Getting into trouble, but it was more like, like getting sick, and then like I don't think you really think about yourself as much because you're destroying yourself, but like at some point you kind of open your eyes and see everybody around you and realize you're like destroying them too.
Shame. The way he drops his head, like the amount of shame, that he seems to feel when he says that. I feel so terrible for them. So Danielle said, addiction is a horrible way of life. It is your life. You think of nothing else but how you will get your next fix. I'm so happy to be done with that life. 15 years sober next week. So congratulations, Danielle. That's amazing. 15 years sober next week. And thank you for sharing that. So that's also why I say, we generally have empathy for everyone here, except, of course, the defendants and then the convicted criminals. Don't we snark? Okay, snark where appropriate. But please just have some empathy for these witnesses and don't judge them by their appearances or how they talk or whatever, because I think they've struggled enough and they're doing their best to turn their lives around. Adam Montgomery, you can snark at.
I noticed you just looked down when you said that. Is this something, this period in your life, is it something that you're proud of?
No.
So back to late 2019, did you have a circle of friends?
I did. I had like a big house, so like my house was like probably half of this place, the bottom, my cellar, and it was huge. So I kind of just had like a revolving door because, when you're like, you justify everything you do, and then when you like start doing drugs, you're like, you get sick, you get really sick if you don't have them, and you get hot flashes, you sweat, you shake, you can't control your bowels, you don't sleep, and you have agonizing pain, So for like a lot of people, not that it's an excuse, but like some people are addicts and they get to the point where they just don't want to get sick, like people do get high, but the thing you really don't want to have happen is to get sick, and so I would have everybody at my house, and then like I guess like you think they're your friends, and I guess you think you're being their friend because like I would give them drugs, they would give me drugs, and like like I wasn't being a good friend then, but
So you mentioned
you tell yourself that.
Shame, he's reflecting. Clara said also these witnesses helped put Adam behind bars by coming and testifying despite their past being public. That's a good point as well. Yes, indeed.
you had a lot of people that you would trade with, and you guys thought you were friends. Who were those people back in 2019?
I had a lot. I had I had Adam, I had Ish, Kimmy, Amber. I could name 50 people. He came over to my house, and then I actually didn't have, like, he had come over, and I think he thought like he was going to be able to trade it. I don't know what he thought, but he came over and got out of it.
Mr. Sullivan, my question was, did you see the guns one time or multiple times?
I saw the assault rifle once.
Okay. Was there another firearm
I believe
case that you saw?
I believe he brought like I don't know. Right there.
Shame now, like looks at the judge, like I don't know. Like, can I say? Can I say? He's very cautious.
Thanks, I'm not. But I believe he brought a shotgun over and he just had it and was showing everybody. But I'm not.
When you say he brought it over where?
To my home. I mean, he was like a friend of mine. Like, then I would have said yes, but now he was the guy who I got drugs from. That's how I met him. That's the only way I knew him. So I wasn't a good friend to other people I gave drugs to, so I wouldn't call him my friend.
I thought you knew him even before that.
No, I met him.
Little snippet now of the defense asking questions.
Always drugs.
Okay.
We hung out and we did things like watch football and did drugs together. We walked and talked and did drugs together. Like, Ish is a good person too. Everybody's a good person. I'm just saying that, like, now, knowing what I know, I'm not a good person for like giving him drugs while we were hanging out.
Okay. Shame. He's reflecting again. Amy says, "Is it Harmony's mom who passed away?" No, it's not Harmony's mom who passed away. It's Adam Montgomery's most recent girlfriend who passed away, if that's who you're referring to. Kelsey Kelsey Small, I think is her name. She passed away from an overdose, apparently. So if you want to see the deep dive of his dark criminal past, we talked a little bit about that as well. Not that Mickey, thank you so much. He said, I watched The Color Purple this weekend. I now understand why it's a DV support color. Purple is beautiful and rare, and it's also the color of bruises. Oh, yes. I thought this was a powerful quote. Hashtag Harmony Montgomery. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And unfortunately, yes, you guys, this is also a DV case. And we're probably going to hear more about it. So we have to buckle up for that and brace ourselves. It's probably going to be, a very sad trial. It's about the murder of a 5-year-old. So that's always very difficult. They've never found her body. So there's, sadly, they're not going to talk autopsy or anything like that. But hearing about the abuse that she suffered is going to be very difficult. Thank you so much, Not That Mickey. I really appreciate it.
And at that time I was doing drugs, so I didn't want like my drug world to fall apart.
Okay.
Spell the first and spell the last.
Joshua Zimmerman, JOSHUAZIMMERMAN.
Right. I just want to make sure I've got that accurately. Did he say where?
I just quickly want to tell you, in case you guys do want to go and watch the entire weapons trial, Mark Reed was a witness on day one. He was the third witness on day one, okay? And then we didn't cover it. So you got to go watch it on Court TV or Law and Crime or any of the news channels that covered it or whoever streamed it, right? I'm just telling you where these witnesses featured. So day one of Adam Montgomery's weapons trial from June of 2023. Mark Reed, who we saw first, third witness day one. Day two was Michael Sullivan, who we just saw. And now this is Joshua Zimmerman, also a former friend. Also day two, and the next witness will be Michael Doby, and he was also on day two. And then we'll see 3 witnesses from day 3 and 1 from day 4. Okay, so if you want to check it out there, I'm sure you can, but hopefully these clips will help, that you just get the gist of it. And we're going to watch the sentencing at the end of this clip as well that I've made for you. And then we're ready. I think that we're ready for trial. We've done quite a deep dive, although there's so much more that we could discuss. There's just so many documents and so many, different things to look at in this case. But hopefully we're all going to feel quite ready for this trial.
Where he kept the gun at that previous address?
He said he was hiding them in the walls and stuff like that because he was worried that he was going to, I don't know, get in trouble.
Well, let me just go to, I'll be very specific, and I apologize. Sometimes my questions are too broad. Let me be more specific. So the question that I wanted to ask was, did he say where he was keeping that gun?
Not
At
exactly.
the time he was living there, and I believe you just said in the walls. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's part number one. Second from that, you mentioned a few moments ago something about the ATF.
This guy, Joshua Zimmerman, he kind of smiles and giggles a little like me when I'm nervous. If I'm really anxious, then I'm just like that, on my word. I think he's very anxious there on the stand. Thank you so much, Debbie, and thank you so much, Woody Deason. I really appreciate it.
Or some statement about the ATF.
Mm-hmm.
What did the defendant say to you about the ATF?
He got kind of paranoid and was putting notes on people's cars.
Hold on a minute. I'm not asking about his actions. I just want to know. You said that he had gotten paranoid. I just want to know the statement. And let me be more.
You see, people will be like, why is he laughing? I can feel the anxiety from here. Can you? If you got anxiety, you know it. It's just like, shame, dude. You can do it.
Clear. Did he say to you that he was concerned about the ATF?
Yes.
Okay. Did he ever tell you why he left the Guilford Street house?
I think they got evicted or something.
And when you had, how many of these conversations did you have with Adam Montgomery about this rifle, about these guns?
Once.
Once, one time? Was there anybody else present there when you had that conversation?
My fiance.
Your fiance was there. Was there anybody else there? Any other adults or child or anyone?
Kayla
Kayla?
and the kids. But
Okay.
they were running around.
Okay, I want to make sure I heard that. So I thought you just said Kayla and the kids, but they were running around. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And was Kayla next to you and the defendant when you had these conversations with Tara there, or was she also running around with the kids?
Yeah, it was back and forth, but we're all right there on the porch and
Whose porch? Your porch or Adam Montgomery's porch?
my porch.
Your porch. And that's the one at 137 Orange Street. You showed us there.
Yes.
All right. Last question for you, Mr. Zimmerman, with regards to Adam Montgomery. Is he in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Could you please point out what he's wearing and describe the color shirt he's wearing?
Blue.
Okay. And could you please point out generally where he is in the
Oh,
courtroom?
sorry. Right there.
Over there is inside. At this point, Your Honor, we'd ask the record to reflect that the witness has identified the defendant.
Yep, it's Michael Dobe, MI.
And now, presenting Walmart. This is the Walmart. There's always a Walmart. Sorry, Walmart. Sorry about that. But unfortunately, they feature in a lot of true crime cases, right? And this guy is a Walmart security and asset protection. He works as, well, I don't know how to word that. He works in Walmart security and asset protection. There we go. So he's also going to be at this upcoming trial, and he was a witness on day 3 of the weapons trial, okay? If you're only joining the stream now, I hope that you know what we're up to. We're looking at the previous trial's witnesses, but what I've done is pick out the witnesses that are on the witness list for this upcoming trial. So hopefully we're going to see all of these people in the upcoming trial. Mark Reed, Michael Sullivan, Joshua Zimmerman, Michael Dobe, or Dobie, is now on the stand. And yeah, he's got Walmart videos and everything from when Adam Montgomery, I think Adam Montgomery didn't quite get what the video was all about. He was like he was buying cell phones and getting rid of something like that. I don't know if he was getting a burner phone or what he was doing, but they have little Walmart videos as well.
CHAEL.
Dobe, I apologize for the mispronunciation. I'm
That's
sorry
okay.
about that. Mr. Dobe, currently, what town do you live in?
Londonderry.
Okay, and how long have you lived there?
10 years?
About 10 years or so?
Yeah.
All right, and let me ask for you, so the jury understands your testimony here today. What field of work do you work in?
Asset protection.
Asset protection. And for folks who are not familiar with asset protection, how would you explain that to them? What is asset protection?
It's just another form of security. Our job is to prevent theft in retail stores.
What are some of the different retail stores that you've worked in, and for how long?
I've been doing security and asset protection for about 15 years. I currently work at Macy's.
And where are some of the different retailers that you have worked with before going to Macy's?
Yep, so prior to Macy's, I was with Walmart. I was with Walmart for a few years, and then prior to that was Rite Aid for 9.5 years, and then Kmart for a few years.
Kayla Montgomery is apparently going to be, she's a very important witness, okay? She's going to be the star witness for the state. She said that she filed for divorce. I'm not too sure if that's finalized. I would imagine that Adam Montgomery would be like, nope, sorry, not signing that. He's that type of guy from what we know so far about him. But she was terrified of him. He allegedly abused her as well. So domestic violence, coercive control, absolutely, stalking. Her mother got a protective order, against him. We went over that in that video, which was his dark criminal past. So go and check that out if you haven't yet. It was part 4, I think, of this trial prep. It's on the playlist, right? And the thumbnail's very clear. A dark criminal past. Go look at that one and you can get an overview of that. But this must be terrifying for her to be on the stand and to have to also look at him and point him out and all of that because she was so terrified of him. Now, of course, she's serving time. He's probably, very likely never ever getting out of prison. So maybe she feels safe now being able to be on the stand. But either way, it can't be easy at all. And I can't remember now exactly how long her sentence was, but it was something like 7 to 9 years for perjury charges and things like that. And so that would be part of a plea deal, which she does mention. Somewhere here she mentions plea deal. And the thing is that without her testimony, I don't know if they would have ever found like the staining in the ceiling where they were staying before and just the little bit of evidence that they were able to find so far. And also to know exactly when it is alleged that Adam Montgomery murdered Harmony Montgomery in the back of the Chrysler Sebring because she was having accidents in the back of the car because she was too scared to say she needed to go to the toilet or something. They were living in the car, right? They got evicted. So you've heard several of the friends now, the former friends on the stand say, oh yeah, they were evicted. So everybody was aware, okay, they were evicted, they were living in the car, and then many of them just, didn't see Harmony again. So with Kayla's testimony, it really helped narrow down the timeline. And eventually she said, okay, it was on December 7th of 2019 when it happened. And so the police were able to, so far, corroborate that with the Chrysler Sebring being towed because it broke down that day and then piece together all the things. So if you haven't seen the probable cause affidavit, read through that we've done already, or part 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the deep dives that we've done to prepare ourselves for this trial, again, I would recommend checking it out because we went over all of that. So now let's hear Kayla Montgomery, who's a highly anticipated witness for this upcoming trial, take the stand here. For the weapons trial is this one.
Okay, Kayla, can you please state and spell your first and last name for the jury?
My name's Kayla Montgomery. Kayla Montgomery.
Okay, and how old are you, Kayla?
32.
Where do you currently reside?
The state prison for women.
And how long?
Shame. They're like, where do you currently reside? Okay, the state prison for women, that's where I live. Woody said, I think she has 2 different profiles. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so we went over some of that as well. I'd love to get my hands on some of those, right? In her original police interview, because she lied initially, and she lied to the grand jury because she was so scared of Adam Montgomery. Now, some people might get angry if I say that, like, no, she should have said it, she shouldn't have lied. But I think if you look at the angle of coercive control, domestic violence, her being a victim of Adam Montgomery and that behavior of his, he was, for instance, stalking her while holding a steak knife that he also dropped and left at her house when her mother had, got a protective order, that type of thing. He's an extremely dangerous man. I mean, that's kind of an understatement. So one can imagine if he's threatening to kill her, if she says anything, if he's abusing her because he says, I think that you're saying things. I mean, she was terrified to talk, but eventually did. So she did eventually talk, and she shared so much valuable information for this case.
How long have you lived there?
Since November 2018. 22.
Why do you live in the women's prison?
Perjury charges.
Were you convicted of those charges
Yes.
and sentenced for those charges?
Yes.
Were you also charged with receiving stolen property?
Also, just to clarify, because she's got this plea deal, part of it is to testify against Adam Montgomery at the weapons trial and at the murder trial. So that's why she is testifying.
Yes.
And those charges were dismissed as part of a... Were those
Yes.
charges dismissed as part of a plea agreement?
Yes.
And you admitted to lying to the grand jury?
Yes.
Did you admit... Apologies. Did you admit to lying to the grand jury?
Yes.
Do you understand the consequences of providing false testimony here today?
Yes.
How are you doing today, Kayla?
I'm okay.
Is it difficult for you to be here?
Yes.
Why is that?
It's a lot.
Do you know someone named Adam Montgomery?
Yeah.
And how do you know him?
He is my husband.
You said he's your husband?
Yeah.
How long have you two been married?
6. It'll be 6 years.
Do you remember the date you got married?
Yeah, it was June 7th, 2017.
How long have you known Adam Montgomery?
Since we were in high school.
Are you currently in legal proceedings related to your marriage?
Yes.
Did you file for divorce?
Yes, I did.
Did you leave the defendant at some point in time?
Yes.
Do you know if after you left him he started a relationship with another individual?
Yes, he did.
Do you know that person's name?
Kelsey Small.
Did you ever meet Kelsey Small?
Yes.
Do you have any children with the defendant?
Yes, I do. I have 3.
3 children. What are their names?
Seamus, Declan, and Kira.
So you talked about where you're currently living at the women's prison.
Yeah.
Where did you live back in October of 2019?
I was living at 77 Guilford Street.
I just want to show you guys, Donna Douglas said she looks so different now that she's drug free. So I was just looking for this picture. No, not that one. Sorry about that. This one. Look, yeah, she looks really different now, right? But when she talks about Adam, sure, the pain and the fear that you can see in her face is very scary, right? Gene Davis says he's probably staring at her. He's such a huge bully. Yeah, when they do pan the camera to him, in many of when these witnesses testified, he definitely does glare at them. He also glared at the jury. You know, he's definitely, yeah, one of those that'll do a stare down. Okay, so sorry to just keep going.
In Manchester, New Hampshire.
How long did you live there?
For about 1.5 years.
For 1.5 years. Why did you stop living there?
Because we got kicked out of the house.
Was that an eviction?
Yes.
Do you remember what month and what year that was?
November 2019.
So if you don't remember the timeline, they were evicted from that 77 Guilford Street house in November of 2019, and then we're living in a car, as in Kayla and Adam and 3 kids. So Harmony and Harmony's 2 half-brothers then. Kayla and Adam's children, right? Harmony's mother is Crystal Sorry. So, and by December 7th, allegedly, he murdered Harmony Montgomery in the car while they were all living in the car. that is even more scary. The two boys who were in the car at the time were 2.5 years old and 10 months old. So I hope they don't remember that. That trauma that's a lot. So yes.
When you lived at the 77 Guilford Street address, who did you live with there?
It was myself, Adam, Seamus, Declan, and Harmony.
Do you think you'd recognize that address if you saw it today?
Yes.
Judge, may I approach the witness?
Yes, you may. Look, you can see him there now. There he is. With the teardrop tattoo that everyone likes to discuss. Did he get it after killing Harmony? No, he had it way back. We actually tried to track that down. We've tracked it down to sort of a date, but way back. I think it was like 2007 or something. If you go and look at part 3 or 4 of our trial prep. I'm more concerned about his Pennywise tattoo. When did he get that? That's pretty scary. But either way, there he is. Yeah, and obviously not looking very happy, and here and there he just glares at her. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it that we could prepare for this trial together like this. Look at him.
So focusing back on that time period, September, October 2019, what was your life like back then?
I was working up until November 2019 at Dunkin' Donuts. I would work 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Adam would be home with the kids while I'm at work, and he would drop me off and pick me up from work because I didn't have a license. And then after he would pick me up, I would be at the house with the kids, and he would leave some nights because we were using drugs.
So he would work at night, is what it sounds like, you know. Finding substances, selling things, selling guns, all kinds of stuff. Jersey Jen says, where is Harmony's mom now? She's actually going to be at the trial. She'll be a witness at the trial. Well, she's listed as a witness, so that'll be interesting as well.
Are you sober now?
Yes.
What did it take for you to become sober?
Going to jail.
I asked you about your drug of choice back then. What was the defendant's?
Heroin.
And you mentioned working at Dunkin' Donuts up
Yes.
until November of 2019.
Yes.
What did the defendant do for work back then?
He was home with the kids.
And he'd leave at night, you said?
Yeah, he would leave after I'd be home for a couple hours, and go for rides.
Okay. Do you know, back then, how did you get your drugs?
I had money from my job, and that's what I remember up until we got kicked out, evicted from the house.
And you mentioned Harmony, Declan, and Seamus. How did you support them?
We had food stamps, and my income, which was barely anything at the time.
Was there anyone that you were close to back then in September, October 2019?
Remember, the welfare fraud was part of her charges. So I think when at her sentencing, if I remember correctly, she has to serve a minimum sentence of 18 months. But I think it was something like 7 to 9 years. And it was the perjury charges and the welfare fraud and all sorts of things along the way. because she was collecting food stamps, on even Harmony's name when Harmony was no longer around. Yeah.
There was a few people that were in and out back then of my life, but I know.
In one of because we did part 1, 2, 3, and 4 of a deep dive already. So somewhere there, I've done presentations and documents and all sorts of things. Go check that out because you'll get more answers there as well about Kayla Montgomery. But before trial starts, I'll, I'm probably also going to watch the replays of my own presentation so that we really know we are fully up to speed when the trial starts. Jury selections on Tuesday, February the 6th.
Oh, one that was around a lot was Tabitha Scott.
And what about people from work? Were you close to anyone there?
Kimberly Frayne.
So, Kayla, we were talking about
If you guys didn't see Kimberly Frayne on the stand on day 1 of this weapons trial, it is so worth a watch. She is so snarky. Like, I quite liked watching her whole testimony. So if you haven't seen it, day 1 of the weapons trial, which I didn't cover the trial, okay, at the time, so you got to go watch it elsewhere. Unfortunately, sorry about that. But there, that witness, Kim, I wish she was going to take the stand in this upcoming trial, but I don't see her on the list.
conversation between you, Tara, the defendant, and Tara's husband. Do you remember a conversation about these guns where the defendant accused you in front of Tara of telling law enforcement on him?
Yes, he accused me of a lot of things.
And he would allegedly abuse her, assault her when he felt that she was telling the police things about him, or he got completely paranoid, apparently. He was saying that there's like wiretaps and she's telling and what's she doing and shouting at her and trying to control her and abusing her. Now, Red Webb said she has 3 kids. Yes, so what about Harmony? She was naming the kids that she had with Adam. So her biological children are the children that she named. Harmony Montgomery was her stepdaughter.
And during that conversation, did he say that you were working with the police?
Yes.
Were you still using drugs back then?
Yes, it was off and on.
And was the defendant still using back then?
Yes.
How did you come to be there for that proffer?
Because I got subpoenaed to be questioned about Harmony, and I lied to the grand jury because I was scared.
So let me back up. Had you been charged with a crime prior to meeting for that proffer?
Yes.
And Your Honor, may I? So, Kayla, prior to meeting...
See, look how he's glaring at her. That must be intimidating as heck. Phoebe, thank you so much for reminding everyone that the trial for Harmony starts on February 6th. Kayla's testifying in the gun trial that already happened. This trial already happened in June of 2023. We're looking at it so that we can see some of the witnesses that we are expected to see in the upcoming trial. So thank you so much that we could watch this together. Someone also asked a question. I can't see the question now, but you asked, is she on something? I do believe to help her with her substance abuse now that she's serving time, that she is on some kind of medication. I do think I read that somewhere. There's a document. There's so many documents in this case. I'm aware it's a deep dive, but I do think she's a little medicated.
For that proffer, you said, I think you had been charged with a crime.
Yes.
Do you remember what you had been charged with?
Welfare fraud.
Anything else?
And 2 counts of receiving stolen property.
And do you remember being charged with perjury as well?
Yes.
Okay. Did you receive a letter from the Department of Justice prior to going to that proffer meeting?
I don't remember.
Back to you.
You may proceed.
Thank you. So, Kayla, with respect to the sentence on those 2 felonies that you mentioned, what sentence did you receive?
I received the 2 counts of perjury.
And what was the sentence that was imposed?
I got 3.5 to 7 suspended, and a 3.5 to 7 with 1.5 suspended off my minimum.
Record?
Sure, it's Detective John Dunleavy.
And the minimum that she has to serve is 18 months. Okay, so now, this was actually a witness. Oh, Detective John Levy is from day 4 of the weapons trial. I think he's kind of like the Kevin Clark, of the Letitia Stark trial. So I'm looking forward to see these detectives on the stand as well. He is on the witness list. I don't know if we'll see these exact detectives because there's something like 79 of them on that witness list. But this guy is on the list.
JohnDunleavy.
And is John the name that you go by?
It's my legal name. I go by Jack.
Okay. Detective Dunleavy, how are you currently employed?
With the Manchester Police Department.
Can you, just briefly for the jury, describe your role and involvement with this case?
Sure. So for this case, I'm one of the co-leads with Detective Rahill for this case. My involvement started about February or March of 2022.
You mentioned Detective Rahill. Is that Max Rahill?
It is.
And you said that you're a co-lead with Detective Rahill?
I am. He's my partner.
Were there any other Manchester police detectives that worked on this case?
There were dozens.
How many hours have you spent investigating this incident?
Hundreds of hours.
And are you familiar with the defendant in this case, Adam Montgomery?
I am.
Do you know who he is?
I do.
Did he at some point become a person of interest in this investigation?
Yes.
And do you see him here today?
I do.
Can you point him out?
Sitting with a white shirt next to his attorneys.
And
Like I pointed out. Yep, right there. Everyone else seemed pretty scared to point him out, don't you think?
can you just tell us how you became involved?
I became involved, and it was like late February, early March of 2022. Myself and Detective Rahill worked on the case together.
You mentioned that at some point the defendant became a person of interest on the case.
That's right.
And what led your attention to the defendant?
There was information that had been obtained through Kim Frayne identifying him as a witness.
Was one of the individuals that you interviewed in relation to this case a gentleman named Mark Reed?
It was.
During your interview with Mr. Reed, did he consent to a search of his Facebook account?
He did.
And did you review those messages?
I did.
Were you able to locate it?
So they probably want to bring that up in the upcoming trial too, right?
An account identified as Adam Montgomery's?
Wasn't able to identify the name. I was able to identify the Facebook URL.
And was that a number combination?
It was.
Associated with a deleted account?
Yes.
And so you weren't initially able to identify the account associated with that conversation?
No, it had been deleted.
Were there statements within that communication that led you to the identification of the...
I know that in this trial, and I'm sure in the upcoming one, they're saying all the naughty YouTube words. But if you could in the chat, maybe just try to censor a little bit all the drug names that you're putting in there. It could really help. Otherwise, YouTube's really going to put all the red flags up for this trial and then for my channel, and then I'll be shadow banned, and then you won't get any notifications or see any of my streams. So maybe we could just, instead of writing out all the names, right, if you just, like, I'm going to say an example, like Xanax, put like a little, like an X and then a little star and then the N, maybe another little star, something like that. It might help, because they do monitor, they being the boss, right? They monitor the chats and all the words that are being said and everything. Unfortunately, YouTube wants everything to be PG-13, which is not great for true crime.
The person that Mark Reed communicated with?
Yes.
And can you tell us what that is?
Through the messages between that deleted account and Mark Reed, there were audio messages. There was the mention of 77 Guilford Street. There were phone numbers associated with the Montgomerys. There was a photo of a family pet that they had. with one of their children laying next to it, which was associated with one of their other Facebook accounts. Things of that nature.
And when you say their Facebook accounts, they had, who is they?
Adam and Kayla Montgomery.
Can you start by stating and spelling your name?
Okay, so this witness is just a very short clip of him. Detective Adam Montgomery. Okay, so he was on day 3 of the Adam Montgomery weapons trial. So those were the weapons-related charges, career criminal charges, and all of that. And so he might be at this upcoming trial as well. He is on the witness list.
For the record,
Detective Adam Bergeron Rosa, BERGERON-ROSA. Corey's kiosk was in Walmart at 725 Gold Street in Manchester.
Detective, since we're being recorded here today, would you please state your full name, spelling both your first and...
So the reason I just made that little clip so short, I'm just trying to show you the witnesses we can expect to see, right, at this upcoming trial. These are ones that were at the previous trial that are on the witness list for the upcoming trial. So I'm hoping we can see all these ones we looked at today and say, hey, we remember that. We remember what they look like or what they saw, because we didn't watch that weapons trial together. If you do want to go watch the whole trial, it's only 4 days, so it's you could catch up on it pretty quickly. I just want to show you how they talk or what they say, but of course this was all about Adam Montgomery stealing guns. So I'm glad they were able to get him for those so they can get him behind bars so that he doesn't hurt more people.
And your last name for the record.
Louis Krawczyk, Klouis Krawczyk.
And Detective Krawczyk, where are you currently employed?
The Manchester Police Department.
How long have you been working with them?
Since 2001.
As to charge ID 196.
You're really getting a defluffed weapons trial here, huh? Just like quick, let's see these witnesses. What are we expecting? We're just preparing for the upcoming trial. So now I want to show you this verdict. And again, it's got little jump cuts and things because sometimes there were just long pauses in between and reading all the instructions and things. I just want to show you here how Adam Montgomery glares at the jury. He just stares down everyone, right? He's a very intimidating kind of guy, a very dangerous man with a long criminal history. You might want to check out the Dark Criminal Past episode that I did, which I think was part 4 of my deep dive for the trial preparation. I mean, he started committing crimes when he was about 12 years old. I mean, it's pretty scary. There's unsolved murders there's an unsolved murder so far that he would be the prime suspect in, that police are looking into. That still, so a very scary guy. Everything that one could learn about how dangerous domestic violence aggressors are, coercive controllers, stalkers. I mean, he's all of these things. He even stalks, and I mean from teenage years already. It's pretty scary. Sure. Okay.
4101C, charging the defendant with the crime of receiving stolen property as it relates to the shotgun. Do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
You say that the defendant is guilty, Madam Foreperson?
Yes.
So say you all, ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Yes.
And as to charge ID 1964100C, charging the defendant Adam Montgomery with the crime of receiving stolen property as it relates to the rifle, do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
You say that the defendant is guilty, Madam Foreperson?
Yes.
So say you all, ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Yes.
And on charge ID 1964099C, charging the defendant Adam Montgomery with the crime of theft by unauthorized taking as it relates to the shotgun. Do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty. Guilty.
Juror number 7? Juror number 8? Juror number 9? Juror number 10? Juror number 11? Juror number 12?
Guilty.
Juror number 13?
Guilty.
And juror number 14?
Guilty.
Ooh, those empty eyes, those cold, empty eyes are looking right through them, huh? He's got a very scary energy. He is a very scary guy, and just think of what the trial's going to be about. That is so scary. But also, what a coward. You know, wanted to sell his pets and attacking children, especially a little 5-year-old girl. I mean, Kayla, it was Crystal, who's Harmony's mother, who will be at the trial and is listed as a witness, so I'm pretty sure she'll take the stand. She said that Adam hates women, that his mother abandoned him, and he's got this inner resentment and rage towards women. And you can really see that from his criminal past, although his criminal past obviously includes also allegedly shooting men and attacking them, all kinds of things. He's a very bad guy. Okay, very, very dangerous.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Adam would like to address you.
Look at him, look at him.
So I understand that I was found guilty by a jury, and I'm not here to dispute that at all. The only consideration that I ask of you this morning is for you not to consider anything as it relates to the case regarding my daughter Harmony. I did not kill my daughter Harmony, and I look forward to my upcoming trial to refute those offensive claims. Probably won't believe me when I tell you that I didn't wake up one morning and choose to become an addict. I don't want to be an addict. And I will spend my time in prison utilizing it to the best of my ability to change things about myself. I could have had a meaningful life, and I blew that opportunity through drugs. But I loved my daughter unconditionally, and I did not kill her. Please don't consider anything that relates to those charges. Only consider the facts to this case.
Sure. The only thing I like is the accent. But wow, he's very intimidating. I don't know, to me, he scares the crap out of me. This guy is scary, especially knowing all about his past and everything he's done. And even though he's like, you know, that he's gonna change in prison. Yeah, right, bro. You're a career criminal. You've been busy since you were 12. Like, oh my goodness. He's done a lot of things, especially in his adult life. And now he's accused of murdering a 5-year-old. His daughter, his own daughter. Like, oh man. I don't know about change. This one. Okay, so we've only got 10 minutes left of this video that I've put together for you. My little production of clips.
The concern that any sentence imposed today would be taking that into consideration. And I want to tell you that the court is not. You will have your trial on that. You're being sentenced today on these armed career criminal and theft charges that you've already been found guilty of. But the court notes that there are a significant number of aggravating factors here, making the minimum mandatory sentences that you're requesting inappropriate. First and perhaps foremost, each of the prior felony offenses outlined by the state in their sentencing memorandum involved significantly violent behavior and violent conduct that involved weapons. Your prior conduct over the 15 years may be some of the most violent and egregious that I have seen. It involves a knife to the throat of a 15-year-old, a gun pointed at a woman with a child in the home during a home invasion, a gun pointed at a police officer, and an armed robbery where the victim was shot in the face. You yourself were shot during that incident. Not all predicate offenses for armed robberies are for armed career criminal cases are the same, and these predicate offenses are particularly egregious. This case itself, the stolen firearms in this case, also had significant aggravating factors. These guns were stolen. There was a child in the house. The guns were maintained while you yourself had children in the home. There was trading, selling, buying back of guns. The guns were sold to and bought back from a convicted sex offender, and ultimately one of the guns was discovered in the hands of an individual who is apparently trafficking in both guns and drugs. The brazen nature of your conduct, the bragging, I mean, I listened to these witnesses. You bragged about the guns. You talked about them being hidden in the walls of your home. You talked about concerns about being discovered by the ATF. I mean, this is not a felony where there were 3 predicate offenses involving controlled drug acts. The gun violence has taken a toll on our community, particularly on the young people here. And the trafficking of guns in the community, the violence that we see as a result of those guns being in the wrong hands cannot be minimized. And for these reasons, as I said, I don't believe that the minimum mandatory sentences are appropriate here. Therefore, the court is going to sentence you to 15 to 30 years on each of the armed career criminal charges.
Look at his face. Not impressed. Doesn't like that. My word. But the judge, very good, very brave to just, just talk to him just like that. But look at him. He's just like, what? 15 to 30 years, and it's for each. It just keeps going. So let's keep listening.
Consecutive to each other. On the theft cases, what I'm going to do on those is you'll get a 7.5 to 15-year stand committed sentence. 5 years of each of those sentences will be suspended, conditioned on your good behavior and compliance with the terms and conditions of the sentencing order. And I will tell you that I am doing that because, given your history, I want something to incentivize you to be of good conduct while you are at the prison. And if you are not of good conduct or you commit other crimes while you are incarcerated, the state can move to impose that suspended portion of your sentences. So on each of the theft charge, they'll be concurrent with each other, but they will be consecutive to the armed career criminal charges. We will have a restitution hearing. I'll allow the state 90 days to file a pleading with regard to restitution. If no pleading is filed, no restitution will be ordered. So I'm going to read you the
If I'm not mistaken, I think this is Harmony's mom sitting here.
sentences now. Please listen carefully. On charge ID 2008743C, you are sentenced to the New Hampshire State Prison for not more than 30 years nor less than 15 years. There is added to the minimum sentence a disciplinary period equal to 150 days for each year of your minimum sentence to be prorated for any part of the year. This sentence is to be served as follows: stand committed, commencing today. The court recommends the Department of Corrections that you be screened and or assessed for drug and alcohol treatment needs. The state will be granted 90 days to submit a pleading regarding their request for restitution. If they do so, a restitution hearing will be scheduled upon further filing or objection by your counsel. Additionally, you're to meaningfully participate in and complete any counseling, treatment, or educational programs as directed by the correctional authority or probation parole. You are ordered to have no contact with Christopher or Kimberly Frayne. That no contact is either directly or indirectly, including but not limited to contact in person, by mail, phone, email, text message, social networking sites, or through third persons. No contact at all, Mr.
Okay, we're almost there. Sheila Conlon says he only says he didn't do it because in prison, being a baby or child killer is not a good thing. You're right. That's probably why he's like, listen here, because he probably thinks, other inmates might see that. Good point.
Montgomery. That would be cause to impose the suspended portion of your sentence. Law enforcement will be directed that they could destroy or return evidence to its rightful owner in the case. You are ordered to be of good behavior and comply with all the terms of your sentence. Additionally, on charge ID 2008742C, you are sentenced to New Hampshire State Prison for not more than 30 years nor 15 years. There is added to the minimum sentence a disciplinary period equal to 150 days for each year of your minimum sentence to be prorated for any part of the year. That sentence is to be served stand committed, consecutive to charge ID 2008743C. The court recommends to the Department of Corrections that you be screened or assessed for drug and alcohol treatment needs. Additionally, you are required to meaningfully participate in and complete any counseling, treatment, or education programs as directed by the correctional authority or probation parole. You have the same no contact order on this charge as well. Law enforcement may destroy or return evidence to its rightful owner in this case, and you are ordered to be of good behavior and comply with all the terms of the sentence. On charge ID 1964099C, you are sentenced to New Hampshire State Prison for not more than 15 years nor less than 7.5 years. You have the 150-day disciplinary period to be prorated for any part of the year. Stand committed. 5 years of the minimum and none of the maximum is suspended. The suspensions are conditioned upon your good behavior and compliance with all the terms and conditions of the sentencing order. The suspended sentence will begin today and end 15 years after your release from this charge. So this charge is consecutive to the armed career criminal charges, but concurrent with the other theft charge.
All I'm hearing is many, many years in prison. And now he's still got this upcoming trial too for second-degree murder charges and abuse of a corpse and all kinds. We went over that in the beginning, right? And especially in part 1, 2, 3, and 4. Today we're just looking at snippets of the witnesses that we could expect to see at the upcoming trial. Carrie said, Adam kept keeping Harmony in a duffel bag for 4 months shows me his immense amount of control that he had over every aspect of his surroundings. Yeah, this guy's definitely got a control issue. I mean, like, this is a coercive controller and someone who needs control of everything all the time. So it's weird though, right? That he kept her body like that. And he bought like pelletized lime, which I think is more to preserve her body. But then he bought other things like an angle grinder, tools, tarps, all sorts from Home Depot, not Walmart. It's extremely sinister what this guy could do. And if you have read the probable cause affidavit, oh boy.
All of the other conditions that I reviewed with you earlier with regard to the destruction or return of evidence, the requirement of good behavior, and that you be screened for drug and alcohol treatment needs are also included on this sentence. On charge ID 1964098C, you are sentenced to the identical sentence that I just reviewed with you, which is, and these two sentences are concurrent. It's the not more than 15 years nor less than 7.5 years at the New Hampshire State Prison with the 150-day disciplinary period, and includes the 5 years of the minimum sentence, and none of the maximum sentence are suspended. The suspensions are conditioned on your good behavior and compliance with all the terms and conditions of the sentencing order. That suspended sentence will begin today and end from 15 years from your release on charge ID 1964098C. All of the other terms and conditions that I reviewed with you on the other theft charge are also imposed on this charge. Do you have any questions about that? All right. Yes.
I thought I heard it, but I'm not positive. Pre-trial credit on the first trial?
Pre-trial confinement credit of 580 days on the first charge.
With all of that, it was up to 60 years. Because that's a lot of calculations to do there, but I'm just like, oh, a very, very long time. Hopefully forever.
In light of your current financial condition and that you have a lengthy prison sentence that you'll be serving, the court will find that you do not have an ability to pay your attorney's fees. You won't have counsel fees. In this case, if you have prior counsel fees, those still stand. I'm going to ask you now to just be seated. I need to find a clerk so that you can be read your rights to sentence review. Okay? Please be seated. You may remain seated.
Look at him, look at him. Like all those, like, you know, when he's like, and all of that he does are just like, and the little mouth movements, like he's angry. Can't you just feel the rage? Oh my goodness. Obviously he's angry. I'm just saying. He's a scary guy. Look at his face. It's just kind of like, oh, it's ridiculous. Can't believe this. Like, really? Really? I think he's going to struggle during this upcoming trial because it's like he can't face it, you know, which is, I don't know if that's also why he held on to Harmony's body, allegedly. But I think he's gonna, we might even see some outbursts in the courtroom. I hope not, but you never know. I hope they keep him shackled. And that's it. So I hope that you enjoyed my little mini production that I made for you of all the, you know, the witnesses that we could expect to see, but it's not all. It's the ones from the weapons trial that are on the same, they're on the witness list for the upcoming trial. Okay. So I hope that helped. If you want to do a deep dive on the case before it starts, jury selection starts on February 6th, which is Tuesday. Okay. And so I know in America, you guys say Tuesday. Tuesday. And so it's starting then with jury selection. And I don't know when the opening statements will be. Hopefully by the end of the week, streaming this. So there should be cameras in the courtroom. And hopefully we can watch this together as well. Meaning I would probably start 3 hours or so later. We'll do a 3-hour delay like we do so that we don't have to, wait around through coffee breaks, paper flapping, all the fluff, all the lunches and things like that, right? I think it's going to be a pretty tough trial, so just make sure that you're okay and just take breaks when you need, because it is a trial about the murder of a 5-year-old little girl. I'm going to play you a little tribute that I made for her, which you may have seen before if you've seen part 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then I'm going to waffle a little bit and say goodbye. Okay, so let me first play that for you. Just hold on 1 second. So let's hope that there will be justice for Harmony Montgomery. They've never found her body, which is just so sad. It sounds like her father dismembered her by everything we've heard so far from the probable cause affidavit. It sounds horrendous. The renting of the U-Haul truck and all sorts of things. So yeah, I would recommend checking out the playlist so that you can catch up there. Also, I do believe it will be the same judge as well. I was just asking. MB Inc. is the same judge, right? Because that's what I remember. Her name is Amy Messer. So she was the judge in the weapons trial. And I believe it's the same judge for this upcoming murder trial and all the other charges we've looked at before. So before I go, please like and share, okay, so that others can know this information as well, and hopefully also get prepared for the trial and come and watch with us. And also use the hashtags that are in the description box. Hashtag Harmony Montgomery, Justice for Harmony Montgomery. That would be great. And also, of course, Adam Montgomery trial. Also, I have a playlist here for you that I'm just going to quickly show you here so that you can see it. I'll zoom in. Just hold on 1 second. So you could find this in the description box, or if you just go to my channel and you just find the playlist section, you'll find this one. So there it is. You can see we're live here now. But Adam Montgomery unsealed affidavit. Okay, I did a short on that. Dad charged with daughter's murder. So here is also this was actually, I think this was a member stream that we did going over the probable cause affidavit when it came out. It was just horrifying. And so now for this trial prep, we went over the probable cause affidavit again. I've got a video for you. This, keeping his daughter's body allegedly for months. And then we looked at the entire police interrogation. So it wasn't that long because he just clammed up any time that he was asked about Harmony Montgomery. So he lasted in that police interrogation for about 30 minutes or so. But we did watch it together. As you can see, it was an hour 17-minute stream. So there was lots of commentary and things. So if you like that, then you might like this episode. And I would highly recommend checking out this one. Could Adam Montgomery be a serial killer? Look at this dark criminal past one. Because some of the things, I did a real deep dive there into his past. And found some interesting things. So you might also be interested to see that before the trial starts. Okay. So I will keep you posted, of course. Let me just see this document again, which is this one. Here we go. This is the final pretrial order. The state of New Hampshire in the Hillsborough Superior Court North. And Crime Curious, who you saw in chat earlier, is actually going to be there at the trial. So that's amazing. Maybe we'll hear from her, or maybe she'll be posting about it on her channel. It's called Crime Curious, okay? So you can check it out there. I think I've got a link to a website in my description box here, and it is on some of the other episodes as well, because she's got bullet points and timelines, and has also done a deep dive on this case. So there's a who's who section and everything, which also helps. I think it's going to help us a lot in the trial as well. Jennifer Mikesell, I hope I'm saying that right, Mikesell said, lurker stepping out to say hi. I'm behind in the stream, but I want to thank you for your compassion, not only for the victims, but for those who are putting their lives back together. You rock, G. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for stepping out from them lurking and actually saying hi. I really, really appreciate it. Simi said jury selection for his trial is on February 6th, but it's not public, is it? When is the actual trial? So they don't normally stream the jury selection, right? Sometimes they've streamed audio. I've seen that before, but they don't normally stream that. So normally it would be about a day or two, but I can't really say because sometimes it takes longer. But from what I've experienced, normally about a day or two before the opening statements begins and the trial actually starts. And the trial is scheduled to last, they say here, approximately 3.5 weeks. Okay, so, and they say the state has approximately 50 to 55 witnesses, and the defendant has 2 witnesses, so I'm not too sure if that's going to be, I don't know who that's going to be, an expert or a friend, or don't know if Kayla will be talking for both sides, I'm not too sure. We shall see. Sorry if I missed a message there from Crime. Curious, are you still in chat here? Are you still cheating on your own premiere? Thank you so much for being here with us. I really appreciate it. So, okay, I think we've gone over everything we can today. Yes, I hope that you feel a little bit more ready. If you don't, trust me, if you go and listen to that playlist, you're going to feel much more ready. This was just a preview because I was curious, so I thought maybe you'll be curious. I'm like, well, were any of the witnesses from there? That's how my curiosity started. Were any of those witnesses? Are they on this witness list? Yes, they are. So I found all of those, picked them out for you, and found some clips for you to look at, like a little preview of what we could expect, okay? Greg L. said justice for Harmony. Yes. Thank you so much. And we did find out in the last stream, I was saying I'm not 100% sure what Harmony's favorite color is. I couldn't quite remember, but I did post a link to one of Julie Grant from Core TV's episodes with the dad of Harmony's half-brother, Jameson. They adopted Jameson, right? And so they said that Harmony's favorite color was purple. So now we know. So yes, if you haven't seen that post on the community tab, please do check it out. Members as well, we'll have a stream again soon. Okay, I've just been deep diving this one. So we'll have one again soon, maybe before the trial starts, we shall see. And I will keep you posted. I mean, hopefully very soon we'll be watching opening statements together. And as I say, I'm probably going to do a 3-hour delay or so to my start time. So if that's not your thing, then that's okay. But I prefer it that way so that we don't have to, wait through coffee breaks and lunch breaks. We could just power through and defluff it the way that we do. And hopefully get through this trial without our hearts totally breaking, because it's a very heartbreaking case. It's really, really sad. So thank you for being here. Really appreciate you sharing the purple hearts as well for Harmony Montgomery. Melissa Loves True Crime said, I normally don't watch trials like this involving small kids, too triggering, but I can with G presenting it. We can all feel the grizzly bear hugs throughout. I fall apart with these cases. Me too, Melissa. The good thing, though, I do also find comfort in watching all of this with you guys. I think we can all be there together for Harmony. I think we can do it. And I really hope that this man will be held accountable, even though they've never found her body. And it's going to be pretty hard to then prove that he murdered her, right? Because pretty much the only person that truly knows is Kayla Montgomery. And she's lied before. That's why she's got the perjury charges. So let's hope the jury will see through all of that, right? Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. And if you haven't yet checked out yesterday's interview that I had with Joe Giacalone, go check it out and go check it the description box for the links to his channels and books and everything like that. I really appreciate you, and I will see you again very soon. Thank you, mods, for everything you do. I know in cases like this, emotions run high and you work hard because for some reason people start fighting with each other, and we don't do that over here. Don't fight with each other, even if you're feeling upset, okay? It's very upsetting. Let's be upset together about the topic and not with each other. Nikki said, thank you for all you do, G. Thank you so much, and happy Grizzlyversary to you. All right, everyone. Earlier I said happy Saturday. It's Sunday. You can see I've been down this rabbit hole. Happy weekend to you, and I'll see you again very soon. Okay, bye.